Hello friends, my name is Marina and this is Rapunzel Fiber Arts. So I've been doing a lot of crafting, knitting, spinning, something else that's hiding in the background behind me that you will see shortly. But I wanted to tell you about what I've been doing in Q2 of 2025. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to show you is my single knit finished object. I have been doing a lot of knitting, but haven't finished anything except for a hat. So I don't even have the hat with me anymore because it was a gift, but I can show you my swatch and some pictures. So here is the swatch. It is 2 yarns held together, the first of which is called Regina, which is an alpaca, cotton, silk, and wool blend. And then the other yarn is Knit Picks Stroll Tweed, which is a merino nylon Donegal tweed blend, which is why it has those brown and white and black bits in there. Because I love a good tweed. That's one thing you should know about me. I love a good tweed. So I knit up this hat for my friend who wanted some kind of summery hats. So that's why the one yarn is a cotton blend. It's primarily cotton with some alpaca and then silk and merino, like I said, or wool, not merino specifically. And so I knit that up for her, which I think she is very appreciative of. She said that there were a couple chilly days where she really liked it, so that's good. And yeah, that's my one knit finished object, which is not the most impressive. But like I said, I've been doing a ton of other knitting. So the first thing I want to show you of my knit whips is something that you have seen before. I showed it to you in my Q1 rundown of everything I've been working on in Q1. And that is the Alchemy Pullover by Knit California. So for this project, I've been using these wool cones. They're from Jagger Spun, and it's 100% non-superwash wool. This is my second cone. The first cone I finished right when I was wrapping up the body, which was very exciting because, I don't know, it's a really big cone, so it's kind of thrilling to get it done. But here is what I have. Oh God. How can I show this to you? It's just huge. It's a nice, big, cozy sweater. I have a sleeve that is still on the needles, but I have to frog the sleeve and start it over. The instructions for the sleeves, I think, might have an error in them, because at a certain point it's like telling you how much further to knit, and I don't think it's an accurate distance. I think it should be. Can you settle? You just need to sniff everything, huh? Crazy baby. Crazy puppy. Anyway, so I need to frog and re-knit the sleeve and then knit the other sleeve. But other than that, the body is done, which I'm very happy about. It was a big endeavor. I've been working on this since early February. So that is my first knit whip. It's been kind of on the back burner for the last month or so because of the sleeve issue. Whenever I have to frog a project, I'm, I guess, reluctant to do that because it means undoing the work I've done. But I will get to it. It's just not as exciting as some of the other stuff I've been working on. So this is my second knit whip. It is barely nothing. Barely anything. There we go. This is the upper back of the Palm Springs tank, also by Knit California. The yarn that I'm using is called the Crystallized collection, and that's by Moonlit Yarns. I picked this up when I went to the Fiber Witch Festival back in April, and pretty much immediately knew that I wanted to cast on with this yarn. It's Midi skeins, so they're 50-gram skeins of fingering weight yarn, and there's 12 of them in pretty much a rainbow of colors. I've only knit some of the colors up in the swatch, but let's get these ends out of there. I've only knit like half the colors in this swatch, but I think they are absolutely gorgeous. I really, really love these like rich jewel tones. They're all based on different crystals, so I like that. That's cool to me. And yeah, it's just a basic stockinette pattern, so there's not like a ton of details to worry about other than making sure my stripes line up well, which is, I had to do some math, but I think I got it right. So I just need to keep working on this. I did see that Leslie of Knit California had also been making a striped version, and her stripes like were coming down the front side like here, so you could see where the jog was. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to make them really go down the side so they aren't as noticeable, but right now I'm working flat, so it's not super big deal yet, but as I continue working on it, I need to keep that in mind so that I don't. And like I said, that's the Crystallized collection. It's like a full set of 12 Midi skeins by Moonlit Yarns that I picked up at the Fiber Witch Festival back in April. And then I've got one more knit whip that I wanted to show you before we move on to some other projects. And that is the Calypso Camisole, which is a test knit I'm working on for Perfectly Knotted. She does a lot of test knits, I'm discovering. I'm in her Discord now, and there's just like test calls going out every week, it seems, which is kind of crazy to me as someone who doesn't design. Like, I can't imagine having that many ideas for different patterns, but they're all really pretty, so I've been appreciating that and resisting the urge to cast on all the test knits because I need to finish this one. So this is the Calypso Camisole. You see there's a so the pattern is like a modified seed stitch. So you do 3 stitches knitting and then 1 stitch of purl. And you're like alternating that every couple rows so that you get this like kind of dotted design. And I've been liking this. I started this back at the beginning of June, I think. And then had knit pretty much this much of the body and then realized it was way too big and had to frog and completely start over it on June 19th or something, around then. I forget the exact date. And I'm liking this. It's a fun pattern. It keeps you interested with those occasional purls, and yeah, I'm really liking it. So this is the Calypso Camisole by Perfectly Knotted, which is still in testing, but I'm liking it. I didn't actually have any sport weight commercial yarn in my stash when I was casting on this project, so I reached out in a Discord I was in to be like, hey, I have lots of yarn, no sport weight, can anybody help? I'll do a trade. And got in touch with somebody and sent her some really nice fiber that I carded up, and she sent me 1,000-ish yards of sport weight. So I've been able to work on this, and I'm really liking it. I'm really, really liking it. I don't know I'm not really a pink person, but as I said to her, beggars can't be choosers. So we'll see. I might over dye it. I might just wear it because I don't think it looks bad on me. I just, like I said earlier with the Crystallized yarn, I really like jewel tones, and this is certainly not a jewel tone, but I still like it. I think it's cute. The yarn's growing on me, and this yarn is by the brand UU, like EWE, EWE. And the yarn itself is called You So Sporty, again, EWE instead of YOU. So yeah, that's what I've been working on a ton the last month or so. And I've really been enjoying it. Again, I had to completely frog, or else this would probably be a finished object, but it is what it is, and I'd rather have something that fits me well than something that has like 6 inches of positive ease on a tank top, because that wasn't really what I was going for. So that is my last knit whip. Moving right along, I have something that is not, I mean, it's yarn related, but it's not knitting or spinning or crochet or anything like that. And it's actually right here behind me. So I'm going to pull that out right now. So I like a lot of fiber crafts. I don't just stick to knitting and spinning. And this right here is a latch hook rug kit that I got. I thrifted it, and it was brand new in the package, like didn't even have the plastic wrap removed yet. And it's a really lovely moose latch hook rug kit. So I'm gonna try to show you, but I'll also put up some footage of me unfurling it so that you can see the whole thing. So yeah, it's a really cute moose with trees behind him and like a lake below him. And I really like this. It's gonna be hung up on the wall in here eventually, but I need to get it like on a frame so it's not super droopy. Because obviously this is it's a loose fabric, so it's not stiff enough to hold its shape unless it's on some sort of board or frame. So my partner told me he'd do that, but we'll see when that actually ends up happening. So yeah, like I said, I'll put up some footage of it unfurling, but I'm really happy with this. I wrapped this up in April, and yeah, I really like him. I've been working on him. I started working on him in like October of 2024. So it's been a while, but also we moved and got a new dog and lost our old dog. So it's been a busy time, but I'm glad that it's done and I can decorate with it and show off some of my other crafts. All right, I'll put this back away. No, I'm not. I'm not trying to fold this into that compartment right now. I'm just going to flop it on the floor and I'll get to it later. All right, moving right along to some spinning projects. I have been doing quite a bit of spinning, actually. I broke out my treadle wheel back in maybe May because I have an e-spinner that I really like to use, and my treadle wheel had kind of fallen by the wayside because the e-spinner is kind of easier for me, but I also really like the control that you have with a treadle wheel in terms of stopping your spinning and your twist and stuff like that. So I really like my treadle wheel, and I did some spinning on it. So this is a black and white stripy skein. It's dyed, or maybe not dyed, I think she just blends the fibers, but processed Rollags by Yarnshine Fiber Arts. I don't know if she still does fiber prep or if this is just the remnants that I had from forever ago. I haven't seen her active on Instagram in a while, so I think she might not, but I had some in my stash. I still have some in my stash from her because I really liked her stuff like 5 or 10 years ago when she was making stuff. But this is a merino wool, bombyx, silk, bamboo, and firestar blend. And it was 3 ounces of fiber, and it worked up to be 208 yards of about a DK weight. So I'm really happy with that. You can maybe see the like greenish sparkle in there. And this colorway was called Cosmic Panda, which, you know, fun. I like it. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to make with this. Maybe a hat, maybe some mitts. I alternated. It was like 2 different types of rolag. Some were white, some were black. So I alternated which one I was spinning. So it has pretty consistent stripes. So I think that'll be really, really fun when it's all worked up. And it's also really fun now, you know? And I chain plied this because I wanted to maintain those color transitions. And then speaking of chain plying, I also made this lovely skein, which is a gradient. It goes from black to dark pink to lighter pink to black. And this is by Loop Fiber Studios, maybe. She used to make a ton of batts, and I think she's kind of transitioned to yarn, you know, mill spun yarn. But this is a batt that I had gotten as a Spinzilla prize years ago through my team. If you aren't aware, Spinzilla is now called Spin Together, and it's pretty much spin as much as you can in a week in February, which is fun. But I find that it often burns me out a little bit, so I don't really do that anymore. I try to keep things a little more casual so I don't, like I said, burn out. And this is 4.9 ounces and 429 yards. So that's about a fingering weight, maybe a little bit heavier. And again, I chain plied this to maintain those color transitions. And you can see all the different shades of pink and purple that are in there. And then my last spun finished object is not washed yet, so I don't have final yardages, but this is the braids of the Rainbow Cog Tweed fiber. I think that's what it was called. Maybe it was just called Rainbow Cog. And that was by Clockwork Fiber Company. I took 2 different braids and plied them together. And you can see that rainbow tweedy bits in there with the pink and purple wool. One of the braids was a self-striping called Heartbreaker, and the other one was like a mauvey color that was called Cardigan, which reminded me of Taylor Swift, so I liked that. And it's a big honkin' skein. I mean, this is, like, it might poof upon washing because it's Shanico, which is a Merino Rambouillet cross, I think. I might have to fact check myself there, but those fibers generally do a little bit of poofing when you wash them in the process of finishing the yarn. But I really like this. I think it's very fun. I think the rainbow tweed is fun. As I have already mentioned in this episode, I love tweed yarn. So yeah, that worked up super fun. And maybe this will be like a shawl or a scarf or something eventually. I'm just going to hank it back up. And like I said, this isn't washed yet, so I don't have final yardage, but it should be about 8 ounces because it was 2 4-ounce braids. And I'm betting it's gonna work up to be a fingering to a sport weight once it's all washed and poofs. So moving right along to some of my spinning whips, I have a couple of these that are all done being spun and just need to be plied, but I tend to avoid plying because it's not as fun as spinning, in my opinion. You're, entitled to your opinion, and that's mine. So among those, we've got this, which is a Merino Silk blend that I picked up at Mass Sheep and Wool in 2024, I believe. Maybe 2023. I'm not sure. But this was just 2 ounces that I spun up, and it's like a variegated purple with kind of white bits from the silk. So again, just my singles on a bobbin. Not crazy exciting, but it's fun. I like it. And then I also have this fiber, which I blended myself. This is... What was the base of this? I think this was a Targhee Suffolk base. And then I added Merino Silk and Silk Noil, which is, again, the Tweedy bits, because I love Tweedy bits. And yeah, that's about 1 ounce. Spun it. It's on the bobbin, waiting to be plied. Haven't plied it yet. But this is a cake, so it's ready to be 2-plied, but I haven't gotten around to that. And this is a like dark brown Corriedale fleece that I have that I blended with silk and some locks, I think. I think they were Coopworth locks. That sounds right. That seems right. Yeah, you can see the Coopworth peeking out as like the other purple in there. And then some mulberry silk as well, which is where the shine comes in. So I cranked this out because I was making some similar items for my Etsy shop and wanted to see how they would spin. That's what this one is too. They both were Etsy prototypes. And I really like it. It's not the softest. Corriedale has a bit of a range, but this is not the softest Corriedale, even though it was a lamb fleece. But it's a really nice dark brown. And I like the little pops of purple in there, which should still show through after plying. That should work up really nice. And then I can make a hat or mitts out of this once it's done. So another project I've been working on, spinning, is this little guy, which is called Wibbly Wobbly. Anyone who knows that reference, we're buds. It was dyed by Classy Squid Fiber Company, who also is no longer in business. And it was on her Classy Sock base, which is a blend of Polworth Corriedale, faux cashmere, and bamboo. And I really love this yarn. My plan for this is to do a 2-ply, scratch that. My plan for this is to do a 3-ply 2 ways, which is an idea I first came across on Imply magazine, their sock issue, which is many years old at this point, but the concept is really cool. And what you do is you do 2 different types of 3-ply. You do a traditional 3-ply where you have 3 bobbins and you ply them from the 3 bobbins. And then the other way is chain plying. So this is my chain ply singles. So I haven't plied them yet, but this is half of the fiber, which I spun all up onto 1 bobbin, and then I'm going to chain ply. And then here's my first single for the traditional 3-ply. I still have to do 2 more, but I think that's going to be really cool. And then I'll do socks with them because this is, like I said, the Classy Sock blend with a bunch of nylon and bamboo in it that should help with durability, as well as the Corriedale, which should help with durability. So you can see those lovely shiny jewel tones in there, purple and pink and blue and green, amongst others. It's kind of like a rainbow, but just like a really, really dark rainbow, which I'm fine with that. I like that. Let's see, I have some of the fiber here too, so you can see what it was like before. So yeah, see there's a little bit of yellow in there, a little bit of black, and then the like streaks of bamboo, which don't take the dye, so those are like these white bits in here. So yeah, I have to do two more singles and then ply, but that's been really fun. I've really been enjoying this on my treadle wheel, and I'm excited to see how it all works up once I finish with the singles and get to plying. And then my last spinning project I want to show you today is also one you've seen before. This is my large quantity of Corriedale that I have. It's a white Corriedale that I had milled by Alchemy Fiber Mill, which is a local to me mill. Small mill, but they do really nice work. So I have 3.5 bobbins of this, and I don't know how much fiber I have left. It kind of seems unending, I'm not gonna lie. I even made a couple of reels commenting on how unending it is, but it's a fun spin. I've been doing it long draw, which I think is going to work up really nice once it's all done. I think it's going to have a nice poof to it and be super warm and airy. I haven't decided if I'm going to do a 2-ply or a 3-ply yet, but the plan eventually is to send this to my friend Lauren of Valkyrie Fibers once it's plied and finished, and have her dye it for me, because she is such a talented dyer, and I love the way she does colors and speckles and visual texture in the yarns she dyes. So that's the plan for this. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna ask her to dye it. Like, I haven't picked colors. I might just give her like an inspo pick and let her go crazy, because she's really good at that. But yeah, I have 3.5 8-ish ounce bobbins, because this is supposed to hold 8 ounces. It probably isn't quite that much, because this is spun long draw, which is a woolen style of spinning. So it holds a lot of air, so it's thicker. No, it's lighter than this would be if it was worsted spun. If that doesn't make sense, let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer your questions. But I don't really want to get into woolen versus worsted in this video, because this is just a project update video. But anyway, I really like this fiber. It's spinning up super fun and soft and just lovely. Like I said earlier, Corriedale has some variation in how soft it is, and this is definitely a nice soft Corriedale. So I've really, really been enjoying that. Even though it's finding ways to accumulate dog hair. But that's bound to happen in my house because I have a fuzzy dog. I'm not going to show you acquisitions. I have decided to try to stop consuming new yarn. I'm going to try to start working from my stash because, to be frank, I am running out of room. And I have a whole room for my fiber and my yarn. And it's feeling crowded, and I don't like that. So my goal is to stop buying yarn. I have yarn in the mail, but I am going to try to stop buying new yarn because, like I said, I just don't feel like I have the room. I don't feel like I need more fiber or yarn because I have tons and I can theoretically spin whatever I need, even if I don't have the right weight in my stash. The test knit was a different situation, but again, I did a trade for that, so it wasn't really increasing my stash to get the yarn in, and I've worked through almost all of it, so I feel pretty good about that. But I feel like overconsumption in the yarn industry is definitely a thing that we see a lot from a lot of people that make content about yarn, and I don't feel like that's necessary. I remember when I started spinning, someone told me, oh, you need to have a palette to choose from, and I kind of took that to heart and went crazy. And I don't think we need to, because there will always be more yarn, there will always be more fiber and more fleeces. You know, if you need something, you can go to a show and get it, or you can find a seller that you like and get it. But I don't think acquiring stash just to have stash is necessary. Might be a hot take. I don't know. But that's what I've been thinking and feeling about stashing, and I want to stash less. So I'm going to try to work from stash, work with what I have, and not buy new stuff, at least through the end of the year, other than the stuff that I already have ordered. So yeah, that's, I think, it for this video. I really like all these projects. I'm really excited about that 3-ply 2 ways and the test knit that I'm working on. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I am trying to make more videos. I'm going to try to make one a month, but we'll have to wait and see about that. My mental health is such that I don't always have the energy for this, or the confidence. Like, I like talking about yarn stuff and I like discussing what I'm working on, but it can be challenging to talk about it to a camera. So I struggle with that, but I'm trying. I'm here. I'm doing my best. And I hope you liked it. So keep crafting. And leave me a comment if you liked any of the projects that I worked on in this video, if you like any of the spinning or the knitting or the latch hook rug kit. Let me know which your favorite was, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care, friends. Bye.